Good morning. It's Friday. We're going to Nottingham on a little trip. Meeting up with Harry and Tom. Not met Tom before. Looking forward to that. Up to the Nottingham Beer Festival to consume some beers, have a bit of a laugh, maybe make some video. And then when we're back tomorrow, I've got a beer to make twice, I think. I'm gonna have to make a Moston Dragon because we're not a little short, but it's looking like we might be short in 2-3 weeks. So we'll get a batch of that on, and then subject to time, might get another batch of Get Lucky on as well. So we have arrived, Nottingham Beer and Cider Festival 2022 with correct glass, not last year's glasses. And some familiar faces here, including Harry and Tom, my wives in tow. We've just sampled Harry's beer. I had the porter, very nice actually, really enjoyed it. We're just going to head down to the other bar where my casks are and have a little go of those as well. And fingers crossed that condition that we did, that priming, has done what it needs to. And there'll be a bit more life in the beer than there was at the crew event, fingers crossed. Although Harry's just let me know he's used about 1/3 of the amount of sugar when he's primed his than I have in mine, so it might be a bit too lively. I don't know. We'll find out when we get there. Let's wander down, take a look. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
How many beers left to get here? I had a look on the list, how many beers there actually were. And then I worked out how many they have to do a day. And it's something like 37,000 pints a day they've got to clear.
We're just wandering down to the Hound Bar Marquee, I think it's called, where Four Priests was resident. And I'm going to see how this pours. I'm very nervous. Let's have a look. Murgy straight, mate. Thank you.
I'll have a Moston then, I've not had a Moston. No.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I think I got all that.
So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. That was 130 grams of dextrose on racking. Racked at 6 degrees. It sat at mid-teens, no more than that, for a couple of weeks and through transport. And yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It's conditioned well. Harry's just on the Moston Dragon, which again is conditioned all right. A bit of feedback, which I'm always happy to receive. A little bit more bitterness maybe, so I might just think about that first hop addition that we put in to start a boil. Perhaps.
Could be though. That priming sugar that you said you put in, maybe that's still lingering a little bit.
Maybe.
That could throw off that bitterness perception. But I think that's spot on, mate. Spot on, mate. Spot on, mate.
Could be.
I'm going in for the Murgy Straight next.
Woohoo! So we found the cider booth, the cider tent, you might say. Sarah is now enjoying the sweetest cider ever. What is it? Which one was it?
Mayfield Crossman.
Mayfield Crossman's. Back in the bee tent and enjoying a few different beers. You don't want to know what all these beers are, do you? But I mean, literally hundreds of them. And then we were back. Saturday afternoon now. What a cracking time we had yesterday. Really good. Some people I was expecting to see and a few people I wasn't expecting to see. So yeah, what a really good time. Brilliant. We should do that more often, honestly. It was good. We ended up at an Indian restaurant after I'd stopped filming. Because I couldn't really concentrate. I'd had a couple of beers and I didn't know what to film. So after that, we went to a nice little Indian restaurant around the corner and had a big slap-up meal. Sarah says she feels a bit delicate today. She's blaming the food. I don't think it was. So on the left, we have one cask of Murgy Straight for Davenham Scouts. Now, don't worry, we're not encouraging young adults to drink beer, but they do have, it would seem, a beer festival, probably to raise funds for their group. So we're happy to support. We're supplying them with a Murgy Straight. That beer festival's on at Davenham Cricket Club near to Northwich in a week or so's time. You'll have to look the date up. I think it may be this weekend. Not this weekend, because this is this weekend, you know, next weekend probably by the time you watch this. And a load of other local breweries. Sean from Tom's Tap's got some beer on there. I think the guys at Hush have got some beer on as well. So if you're local, South Mid Cheshire, could be a nice little event to go and try some local breweries that you've not tasted before. On the right here, I have one cask of Harrison's Vacant Gesture. And in the cold room inside, I've got another cask of Harrison's Proof of Concept. This one was snapped up really quickly by Jack at the King's Lock. Happy to oblige. So for the first time, possibly ever, I don't know, but in a while at least, Harrison's beer on sale in and around South Cheshire. So get yourselves over to the King's Lock to have a try of that. It's not on yet, obviously, because it's in my car, but I'm dropping it off today on the way home. And just watch the Twitter page. I'll certainly let you know, and Facebook. I'll certainly let you know when they're ready to start serving that. Awesome. For tomorrow, we've got, as I mentioned, I think, and I'm only doing the one, a Moston Dragon brew to do. I've already weighed out. I just want a nice, easy day tomorrow. So we're already weighed out. We've got all the grain is in the mash tun, ready to go. That is Maris Otter. Crystal 240, a little bit of caramel, and that'll be an eight cask brew. Water's in the tank. Timer is set. All my valves are cleaned and connected, and I've got an empty fermenter ready to put it in. And I've even weighed out all the hops and put them back into the bags here, in their little mesh bags, so I can just pull them out of the fridge tomorrow and throw them in at the required timings. This is how organised I am today. I've even got Brotaflock ready, because that's, as you know, my little regular thing that I forget. Grain's looking a little bit lower now. I've got my order in at the moment, so there should be 21 sacks coming from the malt consortium that we buy from, the buying group that we buy from, in a couple of weeks. But there's enough left there for either another, at least actually, another Murgy or another Get Locky, possibly. Just need to check. I'm probably maybe one sack short, but Sean said he'll lend me one until mine arrives. This is the 6-head bottle filler that you saw in the sink last week. Stainless steel, made by Fatal, or Fatal as it's spelled, and it is because it's bloody sharp. So with that we can start bottling soon. I just need bottles, labels, and a beer. Other than that, I've got everything. I've got caps. No use without the bottles though. Empty's starting to come back in. I'm going to need 16 to rack the 680-ish litres that we've got in the ex-elusive tank, the big one. And I'm really hoping Simon, if you're listening, Keg Logistics will be able to deliver to me before I need to rack that in another week to 10 days. I've given him a little nudge, not heard anything yet. But I'm counting on that happening probably, because otherwise we're going to have our frantic drive around Cheshire looking for casks again. Okie dokie. I shall be back tomorrow, or for you, probably, in a minute, with the brew day. But before we start the brew day, we are just going to drop this cask off at the King's Lock. We've just done the Davenham Scouts one over to Sean, had a little chat there, and in a couple of minutes we'll arrive at the King's Lock. We'll get Vacant Gesture in the cellar, get the pump clip delivered upstairs, and and then it's up to them when they put it on then. As long as they tell me when, then I'll let you all know. Here we are. I think we're just in time. It's going a bit dark. Don't want to be plodding around the back in the mud when it's pitch black as well, because I haven't brought my head mounted torch. Here we go. Good morning, Sunday morning. It's not even 7 o'clock, 6:59. Got here sort of 25 minutes ago. Everything was ready for me. Obviously the water was up to temperature, so we just dropped 220 litres in, 219, into the grain that I'd already put into the mash tun from yesterday. So that's mashing away now. We've got about 40 minutes left, approx. And then I'm all set for the transfer now. Pump's ready. Sparge is set. So I've got a little bit of time to do some other stuff. Bought a first aid kit, so I'm going to stick that to the wall. We had a little one, but this is a proper catering one with meets the right standards that we need for the environmental health inspection, which is due any time. Hops are all weighed. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough stuff to fill my day with today, to be honest. I'm sure something will go wrong. But so far, so good. Righty, what are we up to? Boil is nearly finished, about 10 minutes left on the boil. Currently got the heat exchanger and the pipes and the pump sanitising with hot wort. Not added the protofloc yet, they'll go in a minute. I'll stop the pump and chuck them in. And then we've got about 10 minutes until we need to add the final hop addition, and then we'll power off and start the transfer. Tank is sanitised. Oh, need to get the lid back on that. Tank is sanitised and ready to go. And it's only 10:32 in the morning, so really pleased. I will be having a good clean before we go, because there is a suggestion. Cheshire East might want to come and do a environmental health look around inspection. So obviously they'll have to work around our opening hours, but I'm very happy to see them at last. It has taken a little while, as I probably mentioned previously. Additionally, I've just lagged a load of pipes as well. We had a bit of a challenge last year with some freezing. As this wall is so thin, it's not insulated. So obviously the metal walls definitely aren't insulated. So all of the pipes that are anywhere near an outside wall have now got an insulation sleeve applied. We do kill the water every time we leave the building. We knock it off here, so there wouldn't be any floods or anything, but or shouldn't be any floods or anything, but you never know. So we'll just take a bit of extra care. And I've also put a bit more insulation on the circulation pump for the HLT as well, just to keep a bit of heat in that when it's pumping overnight. So I'll just check my timings. I think it's probably protofloc time in a second. All right, we're currently transferring. Still a bit of steam coming out, but the elements are off. The Styrian Goldings are in down there. They've had a stir around as well, just to give up some of their loveliness. And we're currently transferring in at, I just did the temperature a minute ago, it's about 20, just over 21. So that's all good. I'm going to try not to overflow today. Should be all right, I think that. Fingers crossed. If it does overflow, we're just going to dump some in there and have another caustic soak with some bits and pieces. With my trusty new hydrometer, the new set that I bought, it looks like at 20 degrees we are absolutely bang on. 39 I wanted, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Beautiful.